This is from American Military News. French President Macron says American woke theories threaten France. Written on February 18th, 2021. French politicians, journalists, and intellectuals are concerned that quote unquote woke theories from the United States on race, gender, and post-colonialism pose a serious threat to France. According to the New York Times last week, top intellectuals joined forces to fight what they regard as contamination by the out-of-control woke leftism of American campuses and its attendant cancel culture. The movement comes months, so it seems France is now wreaking havoc on what the intellectual theories French exported to the United States is now beginning to wreak havoc on French society. Like most of these theories that people might call woke theories were actually imported to the United States by philosophers like Michel Foucault, Jacques Derrida, that whole gang from the 60s and 70s. The Times pointed to remarks made by Macron in October, which the news outlet summarized as calling woke ideology an quote-unquote existential threat that fuels, quote, secession, gnaws at national identity, abets Islamism, and attacks France's intellectual and cultural heritage. In his speech, the French president warned about the separatism and the erosion of topics that the country once excelled in teaching as a result of the importation of American woke theories. And in so doing, we have left the intellectual debate to others, to those outside the Republic, by idolizing it, sometimes yielding to other academic traditions that Macron warned. I am thinking of Anglo-Saxon traditions based on a different history, which is not ours. When I see certain social science theories, and when I see certain social science theories entirely imported from the United States with their problems, which I respect and which exist, or which are just added to ours, I say to myself that is reasonable to make this choice. And so we must very clearly reinvest on a massive scale in the field of social sciences, history, understanding of civilizations by creating posts, by stepping up dialogue, academic and scientific debate in order not to allow the knowledge, the understanding of Islam as religion or the civilization it underpins and its contribution to our country and our continent to become ideological and exclusively political debates. Macron's education minister, Jean-Michel Blanquer, echoed the president's concerns during an interview in October. Adding that Islamo-leftism was wreaking havoc on the university. It's an interesting term, Islamo-leftism. Usually we hear of Islamo-fascism, but I believe this term Islamo-leftism refers to this phenomenon where leftists and Islam in this weird symbiotic relationship, they're attacking, they ally with each other to attack the underlying principles of the dominant society. And this isn't so much that leftism and Islam they complement each other, but rather they have a common enemy. So it's really incoherent, but whatever. No one has the right to cowardice anymore, Blanquer said, according to a translation of his comments. excuse me. There is a fight to be waged against an intellectual matrix coming from American universities and intellectual theses, which want intersectional theses. So basically, intersectional ideologies, like from critical theory, which want to centralize communities and identities at the antipathies of our Republican model, which, for its part, postulates equality between human beings independent of their characteristics of origin, sex, religion. It is a breeding ground for a fragmentation of our society and a vision of the world which converges with the interests of the Islamists. Well, this is just a natural consequence of a pluralistic liberal society. And I don't see how France is going to survive once Islam is in the majority in the country, since Muslims have such a higher birth rate there. Especially since the French don't really have children themselves. They have a rather decadent culture since they've abandoned Catholicism as a unifying social principle. This reality has plagued a significant part of the French social sciences. In particular, I challenge anyone to tell me the opposite, he said. Some do it consciously, others are useful idiots for this cause, but I don't. I never meant to say that our universities and their presidents were accomplices. They are mostly its victims. This can also be said in the media world, where a man like Edwy Plano methodically deploys a strategy of conquering minds whose spring is collective self-hatred. The top educator argued that these phenomena need to be reversed, allowing for the renewal of a Republican consciousness at the heart of French society and political life. Last year, Macron... Sorry, this computer. And it's so early in the morning. It's like 4 a.m. Last year, Macron said French will not attempt the false rewriting of history by destroying statues. Yeah, I remember this. And monuments as devastating riots raged throughout the United States. So what's happening now is the United States has exported its culture around the world, and the young people in these countries are so accustomed to U.S. culture and U.S. ways of thinking that now, for example, French ways of thinking and understanding the world and understanding reality are beginning to disappear in their own countries. And the United States is now reigning as this hegemonic force that you can't escape. Everywhere you go, everything becomes American. American ways of thinking, of speaking, of acting, of dressing. Everything has become American. And of course, this is just a natural result of a neoliberal system.